Hello and welcome to our community forum. I'm Adriana Molina and today my guest is Sally Vaughan. Sally is the Director of Community Service and the Supervisor with the First Generation in Service School program. Today she's here to tell us about the Service Scholars program here at St. John Fisher College. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
All right, to start off, can you tell me a little bit of the history of the Service Scholars program?
Well, the program started back in 1996 with an idea that our current president at that time, Dr. Catherine Keogh, had. She wanted to reward students for their community service efforts, and she came up with this idea that this would be a great way to attract students to our college and reward them with financial aid in return for their service to the city of Rochester. So we had a department store in town called the B. Foreman Department Store, and Mr. Foreman donated some money to the college, and he said just put that money back into the city, and the Service Scholarship program was born. Mm-hmm. That's what Dr. Keogh did. She took that money and she created the Service Scholarship program, and instead of just having one student, she said, why not have 36?
Wow.
And so we started in 1997 with 36, actually 37 service scholars that year. And we've been running the program ever since, and I'm very proud of our statistics in the program. We've done over 500,000 hours. Wow. In the Rochester community, and offhand I don't know what the graduation records are, but we've been very successful with our grads too. I think we're up in over the 80% retention of scholars.
Oh, okay. So what exactly is the Service Scholar program?
So the Service Scholar program rewards high school seniors with a financial aid package. Well, they apply to the college, and the Service Scholarship rewards them with financial aid in return for them volunteering in the city of Rochester. The places where they volunteer are places of need, where resources are scarce. Mm-hmm. And we do have a list of about 100 partners in the city of Rochester, and students choose the places to volunteer.
Okay, so what is the main difference between this and service learning?
Well, Service Scholarship is a scholarship, and students receive money in return for community service. They have to volunteer freshman year 130 hours, and then sophomore through senior year 200 hours. Wow. Service learning is directed by a professor in a class, and students would be doing service that would be related to the course content. Okay. They might be doing somewhere between 10 and 30 hours per semester, and that would be the end of their requirement.
Okay. So how many students are generally chosen to receive the scholarship?
So over the last 15 years, we have selected 36 students every year for the scholarship.
Okay. What do the recipients actually receive?
The recipients receive 1/3 tuition, room, and board, and should they or should they choose not to live on campus, then it would be 1/3 tuition in return for the 130 or 200 hours of service per year.
Do you find that it's more like commuter students that do it, or more on-campus residential students?
I would say there are more residential students. Most of the students, we have a lot of students from the Rochester surrounding area, but the majority of them do live on campus.
Okay. So what are some of the program requirements?
Well, when we're reviewing the applications, and this year we did have about 180 applicants. Wow. For the scholarship. When we're reviewing applications, we're looking for a track record. We're looking for a record in high school of doing service on a regular basis. We're also looking at the service that they achieve. For instance, we like scouts. We would like community service that involves your town and your church. There are students who also initiate, dances like the Teddy Dance, or they do Relay for Life. And so we're looking for a pattern of behavior, regular service, so that it will easily transfer to Fisher, and it won't be like we're starting up with students. It will be that they're just continuing the service efforts that they completed in high school.
Okay. So what happens if a student were to not complete their set hours during a year?
They could be in trouble. Well, you know, when I first started at Fisher, I came the second year of the program, and my job as a new hire here at Fisher was to kind of write down the rules, because there weren't any rules. The rules were that, you know, students would receive tuition assistance in return for them doing community service hours. But at the end of the first year, not everybody completed their hours. Okay, so now what's going to happen? And so I was the one, together with a student and faculty board, we sat and we kind of started to think about, you know, what should we come up with? And so we came up with a probation. Just like if you did have a scholarship program here, you wouldn't be kicked out initially. You would be given kind of a trial time.
Right.
And so they are allowed a 1-semester probation to make up the hours that they were late with, and then to get up to speed with what is required at the time. So it's a probation. It is kind of a courtesy because their scholarship continues.
Yeah.
And assuming that, you know, there's a whole lot of reasons why they might fall behind in their hours. I mean, it could be illness. Many freshmen, you know, have to struggle with transitioning to college, and illness and demands of the classroom and so on. So that would be a good reason to fall behind in your hours. Not good to fall behind, but a reason, you know, that you might fall behind. So I think that probation is a generous opportunity for students to just kind of correct their behavior and get back on get back on turn with the procedures.
Okay. You said before that you choose students that generally are used to volunteering and things like that. So do you find that students tend to go over their hours because they're used to volunteering?
Well, you know, it's a whole lot of hours they have to do. So I think that the whole idea of, you know, transitioning to college with freshmen, you know, they're trying to adapt to the demands of the classroom. Many of them do have work-study jobs. Some of them have jobs off campus, adapting to a roommate situation and so on, that I find that they can easily achieve the requirement. As to whether they surpass the requirement, I see more of that in upper years, in the upperclassmen. You know, that they get
figure out the balance.
Yeah, they get into the routine, and then, you know, before they know it, they say, "Oh my heavens, the 200 hours are done, and I didn't even know it, and it's April." And sometimes we have to even tell them, you know, you're going to have to cut back on your hours. We do provide transportation for all the students. And if they do drive themselves, we reimburse them with a community service allotment per mile. And so, you know, we will have to tell them that, you know, once you've gone too far over, we're not able to provide that reimbursement. We will continue to count the hours, but we can't provide the transportation and also reimburse you for mileage. Some of the students are just so giving, and you know, they have their hours, but they continue to do the teddy dance, and they do Relay for Life, and many of the students don't even report some of the hours they do at home. And I'm constantly telling them, report your hours, have us track them, because they should be graduating with about 730 hours. And I would like to see, you know, some of them graduate with 800 and 900 hours a year, or for the total tenure of their stay at Fisher. Okay.
Is it continuous? Like, for example, like, do you apply once freshman year, or can you apply as an upperclassman, or how does that work?
You apply, it is for seniors in high school. So it really is an undergraduate program. They apply senior year in high school. It's a 4-year program. And so once they have been retained in the program, we want to keep them for the 4 years. We do have a new policy within the program that allows new students to apply should we have lost a student in the class. Every once in a while we have a student change their mind about Fisher, maybe change their mind about the demands of service scholarship. And so instead of 36, we might be down to now 35 or 34 in that particular class. So that would be 2 open slots. And we have enrolled a couple of students who did not apply as high school seniors, and they have been outstanding students. They might have been a roommate with a service scholar.
Okay.
They might have become very active in Students with a Vision, SWAB, and so they have a lot of community service. They have the proven record in high school, and so we welcome them into our program.
Okay. So what are some of the places that students generally volunteer? Like, do you have like specific sites that usually they go to, or?
Yes. We have 100 partners in the Rochester community, and probably a favorite place for students to volunteer is a school.
Yeah.
Elementary school, very comfortable, and high schools. And of course there's so many schools, and there's so many needs in schools. So I think that students can have very good placements in schools. Obviously this is a natural placement for education majors.
Yeah.
It could be for psychology majors, it could be for sociology majors, and so you know, we do try to look at a major and then maybe suggest, well, if you are a nursing major, would you want to go to a hospital? Would you want to try a clinic? And but you know, it's really important to have the student choose where he or she wants to go.
Okay, so that was going to kind of be my next question. So is it like major specific, so you can choose sites that are within your major, or you don't necessarily have to?
Or you don't necessarily have to. Most students will try to choose something that is related to their major. It would make sense. They're gaining hands-on experience and helping the community. But every so often we have the students who are in internships, are doing field work and nursing clinicals, and they say, I need a change. I need something else, you know, to kind of free up that concentration in the major. So so it goes both ways, and I would never say that anybody does one thing one way, or we have a lot of options, and that's the whole thing, is that we really want the students to do what they want to do.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure if it was like, you know, you have to go to certain sites, but that's nice that, you know, you actually get to choose, you know, a little bit something different there.
Well, when you're doing 200 hours, I would, you know,
Yeah,
can you imagine
different
if I would
sites.
tell them, you know, boy, it would be great for you to go to a school because they need you, and you say,
Yeah.
I don't like kids. And I say, oh dear, well then we have to figure out someplace. So I ask a lot of questions when they're coming in as freshmen. I try to ask them a lot of questions. I'm reading an application that said, you know, I've done a lot of things with children. I'm an education major, and I'm saying, hey, we've got some schools for you. What do you think about doing that? So, you know, there's a lot of conversation ahead of time so that the students have that opportunity to select where they want to go. They don't, you know, when they select a school, they don't know exactly what the school is. If you're from Albany, New York, or Buffalo, and I say you're going over to school number 10, you don't know what school number 10 is, but I would, you know, encourage them to maybe take a look at a school and then let them know that you have been assigned to a school, and we'll give you all the details once you arrive.
Okay. Do students have the option to volunteer at more than one site per semester, or is it just like one site?
It's usually one site per semester because you know, you really want to give that site time. And if you were doing 2 or 3 different places, you would never form a relationship with, you know, it's about forming relationships, about almost becoming a part of the family. At schools, teachers say, I can't live without this volunteer. I count on the volunteer coming every single Wednesday. And so, you know, it is about forming relationships, and a lot of students stay there for 4 years, and a lot of students change every semester, or at least every year. A lot of students change every year.
Oh, do you find, like, do students sometimes get jobs at the sites that they volunteered for after graduation?
They do. And if they don't get jobs at their sites, they get jobs because of all of the experience they have had in the Service Scholarship Program. Some of the other things that are the result of volunteering, they're asked to serve on boards. They're asked to come back in the evening and participate in open houses. And so there's a lot of other opportunities that happen as a result of Service Scholarship.
That's great. That's really great to hear. What are the criteria to receive the scholarship? Like GPA requirements and...
Yeah, well, you know, to stay in the program, you have to complete the hours, and this is about students giving back. So it isn't about, grade point average. They would have to maintain the college standards. But what we are finding is that we are attracting some very, very bright students. So although it's not an honors program or a science scholars program, we do have very, very good students within the program. But the GPA is 2.0 in order to maintain your scholarship.
Okay. And just before we finish up here, how can students apply?
So, it isn't for students who are here at Fisher. It really is for high school students, and they would be working with their guidance counselors. And of course, they were looking for the record of service. A 4-year record, really. 50 hours a year is really the basic.
Yeah.
But if they were here on campus and they were volunteering with SWAVA on a regular basis, and somebody happened to mention to them, we don't advertise that we have these spots available because we can't have 100 applicants for 2 spots. Right. And it is a pretty prestigious program. It's a difficult program to be successful in because you really have to love service. And if you love it, it's easy. But there's a lot of people who would love the tuition help, but they might not be able to, satisfy the requirements. So some of the service scholars might know, hey, we had 2 people drop out of our class, and they might tell a friend, and then the friend would come up and see us. We would make them go through the same application process that we do high school seniors. They'd fill out an application. They would have to interview with the committee, and then we would decide whether they're a fit. This has to be done freshman or sophomore year. We do not enroll people into the junior year or after.
Okay. Well, up next, we will talk to some students about their experiences as service scholars. Thank you again, Sally.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Welcome back to our community forum. I'm Adriana Molina, and joining us now are 2 students who are service scholars here at Fisher. We have Amanda Capus and Tiffany Gregoire. Welcome.
Welcome. Oh, thank you.
Okay, just to start off, why don't you tell me your year here at Fisher and your major?
Okay. Well, I'm a nursing major. I'm a senior, so that means I've been in the program for 4 years.
And I'm a freshman, and I'm a math major, so just getting started.
Just getting started, huh? Okay, so we'll start off with Amanda. How did you first hear about the Service Scholar program? How did you become a part of it after high school?
Well, I believe that I was at an open house, and they talked about it, and I always have done service. So I made the connection, and I was like, I should really go out for this scholarship because it's 1/3, and I didn't think 130 hours would be that hard to get my freshman year because I've always done service. And I was really interested in the nursing program, so I thought it'd be a very good connection. So.
Good. What about you?
Well, just like Amanda, service has always really come secondhand to me, and my guidance counselor I was really close with, and she mentioned the scholarship to me, so I looked into it, and I really felt like I could be a fit for it, so I decided to apply.
Oh, that's awesome. So what kind of volunteer things did you guys do in high school?
Oh my goodness, what did I do? Well, I was an altar server through my church, and then we just did like soup kitchen stuff through my church. My town, they had a service program, so I got to do multiple different things through that. I helped with their after-school town program. I did soup kitchen again through them. I've done helped out with their town plays. Oh my goodness, it's been so long too. I think I had a hand in everything through my town, so.
Wow.
My goodness.
Yeah, my high school was very similar. I worked a lot with my town's Walworth Recreation Program, which is mostly like younger kids, and there's a day camp and other sports activities for them. I did caroling, Relay for Life at my school. I did a lot of tutoring in kids from elementary school up until high school. Anything really I could get my hands on, I kind of did. So.
So what different programs with the Service College have you been involved with thus far? I know you've been here for a while, so why don't you tell me a little bit about the different things you've done with the program?
I can start off with my service sites. So being a nursing major, I first thought I want to do something with nursing. So for 2 years, Sally put me at Strong. So I did Friends of Strong for 2 years. And then I realized once I got into, it was the summer before nursing school, and I knew nursing school was going to be very intense, 100% nursing, and I just didn't want something nursing. Service has always been an outlet for me, and I just needed something totally different. So then I got put in the HYPE program at East Rochester School, which is tutoring. Loved it. Then this year, it didn't work with my schedule, so I went to Nazareth Elementary. Love it. I love working with kids. So another thing that I've done, been really involved with, is PCC with SWAV. We go our freshman year as a service class. Then I became a PCC leader, and I've just been really involved with that these past 3 years after that, after being a service person at PCC. So
do you think that PCC, do you think that you would be involved with PCC if it wasn't for
absolutely
service?
not.
Really?
not just because I was so busy. I'm involved in so many other things that I just would have never, I think, got into it. It's very hands-on, like a project manager, and I just never thought I'd be interested in it. So I might have went one time as like a person to help out because I like service, but never as a leader. I would never and ventured out into that path because like I said, I never thought I would like project managing, and I absolutely love it now. So never thought nursing and project managing would go together. So
so that worked out.
Yeah, I love it now.
So Tiffany, I know that you're a freshman. You maybe don't have that much, but what have you done so far?
Well, I've just gotten started, but this year I've been at School 52 with a 3rd grade class. I've really enjoyed doing that. I've even had a couple of times where I got to do little math lessons with the kids, and that was really great. And then this weekend I'm doing PCC, so I've done other volunteer things on campus. Like I did the whole 12 hours of Relay for Life. And I did 13 hours at Teddy, so I've done those, but I'm just getting my foot in the door for the Service Scholarship Program.
So since you both volunteered so much in high school, do you find it hard to keep up with the hours? Or does it pretty much, it's already been in your schedule, so is it a little bit easier for you in that sense?
The 130 hours for me wasn't that big of a deal. The biggest transition I found was the 130 to the 200 hours. It's a big transition for anyone, as a big jump in hours. You also, freshman year, you're getting really kind of adjusted to school, and then finally you get your plan and yourself set, and then you have to make a whole new adjustment with these big hours. Also, when I started playing a sport here at Fisher, which was field hockey, which I no longer play, but when I did add a sport into the mix, that was a whole new level of commitment, plus 200 hours. And I'm sure Tiffany will say that's a different commitment too because she plays volleyball, but it's, you just have to, it's all about balancing.
Yeah.
So the more activities you bring in, the more balancing you have to do. So it's very doable, it's just about balancing, I believe, so.
So do you think the program helps you be a little bit more organized because you kind of have to be?
Yes, very time management driven.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helps to get as many summer hours as you can.
So those count?
Yes. As a freshman, you can bring in 52 hours from the summer as long as it's a non-for-profit, and you have to write a reflection about what you did and have a letter of recommendation sent in from your advisor just saying that you did participate. After your freshman year, you can bring in 80 hours. So bringing in those hours definitely helps. I know though I've been at a school, so my site hours have been a little hard to get sometimes just because there have been so many breaks and there are conference days, but if you want to get the hours done, there's definitely many opportunities to get them done.
And PCC counts, Relay for Life counts, Teddy counts as outside hours. So there's ways to get it. They're very that's what I like about the Service Scholar program. You have your site hours, those are your bulk of your hours, but they give you flexibility to do outside hours and other hours, which are really great. So you're not always stuck at your site doing all your bunch of your hours at your site. They give you a variety of doing other things, which is what service is about. It's not just doing service at one place all the time.
Okay. So, Tiffany, when you're looking about, like, you have a lot more years in front of you, are there certain sites that you really want to work on getting into?
Well, I mean, I was looking to do more research this summer about the other sites that are in the program. I would really like to help wherever I can, but kids have always been a really big focus on me. I know that when I was being brought up, my community had a really big impact on me, and I wanted to be able to give back, especially through the Walworth Recreation. But I wanted to look more into like the Center for Missing and Exploited Children and a lot of other things. Just I wanted to get as much research as I could and to see if I'd like to change my site.
Yeah. And so since you're about to graduate, since you're a senior, is there, for like career goals, do you still want to work in some of those sites that you have before? Is that what you're looking towards?
Since my sites in the past, like obviously I do clinicals at Strong.
Yeah.
So having those 2 years at Friends of Strong helped build my resume. When I go to interviews and stuff, I use my service as one of the big problems with nursing is burnout. I use my service as my way of preventing burnout. So yes, I do keep my sites as my stress reliever, and that's where I plan to keep my service. I also have not been to an interview yet that has not asked about the Service Scholar program and asked about my 700 plus hours of service. So anyone who's going on interviews, do some service because they love it. So.
All right, and before we wrap up here, why don't you tell me like about the benefits and like the things that you've learned while being a service scholar?
Some things I have learned is that nothing like is what it seems. I have always been surprised at my service sites, walking in thinking one thing about how I'm not going to really like a service site and how much I loved it. So, like I said, never take anything for granted and just give stuff a chance. And I think that's what this program's all about, is helping others and giving things a chance because you really are making a difference.
I think for me, the biggest thing is probably you understand how much you wanting to be at your site really makes a difference. I know every single week I go in, I have kids running up to me, Miss G, we missed you so much. And like just the fact that they get so excited that I'm going to be there is just so rewarding to me. In my class, when I came to Fisher, I really didn't know many people. I knew a few people from my school that graduated with me, but other than that, I was coming in by myself. I commute, so I'm not on campus to get to know a lot of people, but through the Service Scholar program, I've gotten to know a lot of people on a very personal level, and you realize when you talk to them how similar you really are. And so many people, they come into college, oh, I feel so different, I feel so alone, but I can honestly say that I have met some of my best friends through this program, and I feel so comfortable and I can trust them, and it's a really rewarding program to be a part of.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. I'm glad that you guys have had such a great experience with the program. So there you have it. We got some input from two service scholars, Tiffany and Amanda. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having us.